Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 68 of Weird Mind Newsroom, where this week we have a odd selection of some new releases, a fair few amount of trailers, and some oddities of some news stories. So, don't mind the jacket, and let's get into talking about all the new things that came out for this week in media. Starting off this week with the big release of this month for where I'm from anyway in particular. After 36 years since they first graced the big screen, The Ghost with the Most is back once again from the mind of Tim Burton for more chaos and mayhem as we receive the newest film of Beetlejuice. The film will see 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River after an unexpected family tragedy. But still haunted from the demon of Beetlejuice, Lydia's life soon gets turned upside down once again after her rebellious teenage daughter of Astrid discovers a mysterious portal to the afterlife and ends up getting herself trapped there. Soon, Lydia will have to summon the Ghost with the Most once again in order to help rescue her daughter and cause some mischief and chaos along the way. The reception to this legacy sequel has been well received, with praise to the classic tone and respect of the original Tim Burton classic, and expanding on the fun of the original. There was some aspects of themes as well as the story as goes a bit all over the place and a little bit hit or miss to people. But if you want to see the juice loose once again, you can catch his new film out now in cinemas. Now, brooms at the ready as a challenging game of sports, flying, and possible friendly competition is about to take to the skies as we have the all-new game based on the Wizarding World with Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. This new game will have you play as your new character, as well as some of your familiar and favorite characters from the expansive series of the Wizarding World, as you duke it out in high-stakes Quidditch matches in some familiar locales and prove who is the ultimate champion of this wizarding pastime. Reception to this game has been a bit more of a mixed bag. While there's been praise has been given to the gameplay and the visual aesthetic, the minimal amount of content and some of the appeal has seen a bit of a snag in that enjoyment. But if you want some new form of sports game that is not the usual fare from like 2K Games or EA, you can get this game now on PS4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X and S, Nintendo Switch and PC in a digital format, with a physical version coming some point this November. Are you looking for a new platformer on a console that has had the whole joke since its release that the console has no games? But just because there's no exclusives does not mean it has no games. There's nothing wrong with a bit of sharing now and again with the consoles. Then you will be in luck, as a somewhat mascot for the last 2 consoles itself is off on a massive new intergalactic adventure with a new game of Astrobot. This new title will see the digital little robot go on a massive space quest to recover his lost crew and restore the mothership that is strikingly similar looking to a PlayStation 5 console, and it's all of its parts while taking on the evil green alien of space bully Nebulux and his army of goofy followers and restoring peace to the cosmos. Reception to this game has been universally praised, which I think is one of the highest ranked games of this year, and it's praised for its gameplay, its simple story, its fun platforming, and its puzzles galore, and it's such an appealing character of the main focus in this love letter to PlayStation and to platformers of the past. And if you're up for a new fun adventure, then you can play this new game out now on PlayStation 5. But now court is now in session for the final new release for this week, as while we are known for playing as a well-dressed, very spiky-haired defense attorney, we are now moving to the other side of the courtroom as we'll be playing the role of the prosecution, and also supposed secret lover of the defense attorney, as people ship these two, as we have the new bundle collection of Ace Attorney Investigations. This new collection will consist of the 2 titles of the spin-off game where you play as prosecutor Miles Edgeworth as you travel around and check out the scenes of crimes that have taken place across the lands and put your mind, wit, and patience to the test in order to solve the case and bring the criminals to justice. The bundle reception has seen some strong positive reviews of praise of the visual upgrade and for having a chance to play as a new side of the beloved series, and in case of playing the second game for the first time in English, as it was a Japan exclusive for over a decade at this point. And if you're ready to reach a new verdict, you can play this new title now on PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Of all that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week.
Creeper. Oh man.
On the first of the trailers for this week is bringing a sense that doing this form of emotion is contagious, and it can also be unsettling and deadly when done in the wrong way to a whole new meaning, as we have a new trailer for the upcoming surprise sequel to the short film turned surprise horror hit, the new look at Smile 2. This new entry will follow Sky Riley, a pop star who is about to embark on a massive world tour but begins to start experiencing some increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. And overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and pressures of fame, she must face her dark past and regain control of her life before it spirals out of control. Now, the likes of this film was that I initially thought the original was not the most appealing looking, though how they marketed it and how it turned out was actually surprisingly genius and unsettling. In all fairness, I think this one does not look too bad, but I do hope they don't milk this series, because they're going to do so much with this franchise in particular. We'll see how it turns out when it releases in the cinemas on October 18th. So then we have another week and another new trailer for a video game adaptation, and this one was actually one that for a moment in time I actually forgot was coming out very soon, which is surprising as I've been getting a lot of stuff recently, so I don't know if it's a condition or if my mental state is really just that fucked. But we are heading to a very cubic world of danger and creativity where the only limit is your imagination, as we have a trailer for the new live action adaptation of a Minecraft movie. The film follows four misfits of Garrett Garageman Garrison, Henry, Natalie, and Dawn, four different people struggling with ordinary problems, who all get suddenly sucked through a mysterious portal to the overworld, a bizarre cubic wonderland that thrives on imagination. In order to get back home, they will have to master this world and save it from evils while embarking on a magical quest with an unexpected expert crafter named Steve. So this trailer has caused quite a divide online, and is unsure if I can talk about it or getting a possible strike for this video version anyway. But as I think from this world shown looks visually nice and close to the game with this whole cubic nature, the likes of it being live action and a bit of the visual design of the creatures and enemies has been the big debate, and kind of looks a bit the uncanny valley unsettling type, but you know, it could be a case where, to me personally, I think so far it looks fine. I think maybe an instance that, like, you know, over time, similar to how I was initially with the original design for Sonic, that I got used to it, and I feel the case it looks fine enough. But I guess we'll have to see how it turns out and how people will turn to it over time when the film crafts its way into cinemas from April 4th next year. It was, however, not the only video game adaptation trailer that we got this week, as is also dropping was a return to a series that came out of nowhere and was a massive hit and successful, and the follow-up that's been eagerly awaited as we have given the new trailer for the upcoming second and final season of Arcane. Now this season will see the effects of Jinx's attack on the council and will soon set the stage for the estranged sisters to duke it out, as well as the dire escalation of the conflict between Piltover and Zon. So the likes of this series looks even more visually appealing, and I do hope that this season will land just as great and as entertaining as the first season, and I definitely need to give this a rewatch in particular, before this new season airs some point in the streaming service in November. We still have not gotten a date yet. We're in September, we still haven't got a date for November, but most likely I'd say Geekworld will probably give us the release date for this in particular. The next trailer for this week is taking us to another strange and colourful land, a place that is just a twister away and beyond the Yellow Brick Road, for the tale of once friends that become set in stone of different paths they take, as we have another new trailer for the upcoming musical of Wicked. Now this film will tell the story of Elphaba, a young woman who was ostracized and misunderstood because of her green skin, who enrolls in Shiz Academy, a school for students with unique gifts and powers, where she soon forms an unlikely but profound friendship with Galinda, a student with an unflinching desire for popularity. But soon following an encounter with the Wizard of Oz, their relationship soon reaches a crossroads, and as their lives soon begin to take very different paths. Now, right off, so this film I can see the likes of the love and effort that's put into this movie with the actors and all this stuff, but there is something about it that seems a little off on the basis that yes, this is supposed to be a two-part film. It's about 2 hours. This whole show is actually about 2 hours 45, so I don't know what else they can really do for a second part, so maybe it's been moved back to a part one, but I don't know. And also the case is something about the not really sound like the likes of some of the sounding on this trailer sounds a bit off the other ones. As well as the case, they're not really showing emphasis about this being the musical. The only ones they've really shown was a bit with Popular, which is a song Galinda sings, and of course Defying Gravity, which they use in all the trailers so far. And since the only thing I know from this movie is the whole drama that saw the breakup of two marriages and of an affair with lead star and the co-star in this, as much discussion most of the time. But I hope I'm wrong and this actually turns out good, and hopefully there'll be a lot more love and focus to St. Herba from this in particular. But guess what, to find out when the film releases in the cinemas on November 22nd. And the final trailer for this week is a bit different to the other trailers, as more of a realm of a documentary piece, as we have an iconic comedic actor go on a journey with a lifelong friend who has had a change in life and learning about it, as we have the new documentary of Will and Harper. The documentary will tell the story of the lifelong friendship between Will Ferrell and Harper Steele, from working on SNL to lifelong collaborators, where back in 2021 during the COVID pandemic, Harper sent out emails to close friends and family that they were transitioning from a man to a woman, and the film will follow a cross-country road trip that the two will go on and learn about about things along the way and find themselves in the process. So the likes of this was that I had heard elements of this from the likes of a few film festivals and I think from Comic-Con or something like that, and has received a massive critical praise overall so far from these film festivals. Now I know the case the topic at hand will not be an appeal for everyone, as I've seen from the comments and stuff, in particular from the trailers and stuff, that people have their own opinions, of course, on the likes of treatment and transgenderism, and I can respect the case instance that people might have their own opinions. Some can vary and stuff like that, but you know, everyone has their own opinion, and it may not appeal to all, but I got the sense of it being a thought-provoking and quite humorous story that will probably unfold in this film. I feel it'll be worth a watch when it releases on the Netflix to the end of this month from September 27th. And with all that, that's all the trailers that we have for this week.
Jacob, keep your shirt on!
No! Right, so the first of the news stories of this week is taking us to the realm of talking a little on superheroes of all varying power levels and aesthetics. And this week we're focusing not on the massive franchise of the MCU, but rather on the side of a few different elements in the works of all the form of the DCU and the elements of their Elseworlds canonicity, as we have a few stories that come from this side of the comic sphere. Now I'll be giving a little rundown of some stories, of a few of its project announcements, rumors, and overall updates and stuff. So let's delve into what we got this week. So the first of the stories based in the world of DC Comics is taking us beyond the cosmos through the power of light energy and a nifty little ring as we talk on the powerful group of the Lanterns, as we've got a little word on the update to the planned television series that they're being worked on. So far what we know is that we're in early concept stages of a TV series for HBO Max, and the only confirmed casting of a Lantern in the DCU is with Nathan Fillion playing Guy Gardner, who will first appear in the upcoming Superman film next year. The likes of which is known for other characters that we have. The most known comic heroes is of course Guy Gardner, Jon Stewart, there's Sinestro, and of course the main focus of this one being Hal Jordan. Now we have seen Hal in the live action form already with the always joked about 2011 film starring Ryan Reynolds, but now this new take will be a much more older and mature form with a bit of a gruff edge to them, as they've been starting to cast this hero, and this rumored casting that started to come out is with actor Josh Brolin. Now Brolin of course is not new to the comic verse, as he has played his share of comic characters, including of course the big bad Thanos for the MCU, Cable in the second Deadpool movie, Jonah Hex, and in Sin City 2. So jumping from Marvel to DC seems like a likely story. Now it has not been set in stone and confirmed just yet, but he hasn't agreed to it, but there is also two other choices that apparently have been considered an approach for it if this casting falls through, and that is with the actor Matthew McConaughey or Ewan McGregor in the role. So it all sounds like a good choice casting all the same. Now in my opinion, the likes of a more mature Hal Jordan sounds a bit more reasonable, and reading how it all plays out, because at first I was a bit confused and then I sort of read more about it and it's like, okay, that makes more sense. And sort of seeing early concept pieces from Boss Logic himself, I can see it work, and I guess we'll have to see how this comes along as this so develops more over time, but we'll come back to it when it does. The second of the stories for DC is taking the Elseworlds approach, as we are talking about the upcoming sequel to the 2022 adaptation of The Batman, as the long-awaited follow-up is coming along. So most we know right now is that the next in the series, of course, with the limited series of The Penguin releasing on the 19th of this month, and then we know part 2 is releasing in October 2026. But as a case, we have some slight update to the project itself, because according to Matt Reeves, the project script has now near completion. It's also been confirmed the approach that the film will be another mystery film similar to the likes of the previous entry, which I think works best because the way they implement the whole detective aspect of the character worked so well, because that's a concept they really kind of overlook in a lot of these other Batman adaptations. And I guess we speculate as to who will be the primary focus villain for the sequel, because he's also mentioned as well that the likes of the villains will not go overly into the realm of the fantastical era and will be more the realm of grounded, but will have the slight element of fantastical form. So likes of characters you would see from the connected universe may seem out of question. I guess for the approach could be the likes of maybe like Hush, Two-Face, Mr. Freeze. Maybe in the first I can suggest like the Court of Owls or the League of Assassins. I feel they could work them well into a narrative or something like that. Now I'm sure once we start to see the production begin next year and his scope for the sequel starts to play along and we get the confirmed villains, but either way I'm all for the sequel and we checking out when it releases in 2 years time and bring along someone that I know really enjoyed the first one. Hopefully will like to join me along for that one too. Lastly, this will combine two stories as we have gotten a release date for a new project and the response for another project in the upcoming few weeks. And we'll start with the release date as has been confirmed now that the upcoming animated series of Creature Commandos has a release date of December 5th, mainly in the US and most likely over here as well, but the jury is still out on that one in that aspect, but I say we'll probably get around the end of that month or the start of next year. Now, for the second part of it, the second film based on the character of Joker with Fully Ado had its world premiere this week at Venice International Film Festival, and the results of the early reception seem to be a little bit more of a mixed reception compared to the first, even if the film received a 11 to 12 minute standing ovation. Now, most of the praise of the film so far is towards the main leads of Joaquin Phoenix Lady Gaga, even if the likes of Gaga is kind of underused in the film, and there's some strong pacing issues, with the first act being in the asylum, near half a courtroom drama, with some odd choices on the musical aesthetic to it. Yes, this is also a musical in particular, but I guess it seems like a bit of like a small percentage of issues for some, and I'm sure we'll see more and more views come along as the film reaches release in October. But I guess we'll see how it all turns out. But what are your thoughts on all this DC news? And who would you cast as the Lanterns? Who would you think will be the villains for the next Batman film? Or are you excited for any of the projects in particular? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything down below in the comments. So this next batch of stories were more of a spoiler in particular, and may not fully match, but they provide some elements of announcements as on franchises or IPs of the past. Either has some speculation or some confirmed or announced projects. But I'll give a quick rundown of what we have this week. So first, we're starting with some news concerning the announcement of a rumored series that was first brought up over a year ago. Now is the likes of a talks of a new series based on the popular book series of Twilight that was initially thought to be a focus of a remake of the books with plenty of more faithfulness to the novel series. But it looks like we're taking a new approach with this one, as the series was announced there'll be now an animated series that's being worked with Netflix, and it'll be focused on the recently released book of Midnight Suns. This, of course, from those unaware, is the book that will focus on the original novel, but is told from the perspective of Edward, the vampire in particular. I guess it makes sense to do a version of the book that has not been adapted yet, and it's a question if they will get the cast back from the original film, in particular like Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson as Bella and Edward, and maybe even Taylor Lautner. Maybe get him back for Jacob. I guess we'll have to find out more as the series begins development, but I will update when that comes along if there's anything that comes from it. Next on the news block is some more news that comes from the Venice Film Festival, as well. The big film stars of Brad Pitt and George Clooney are there promoting their new film of Wolves. It seems not the only project I'll be seeing these two team up again for, as has been discussed and possibly announced. There is a planned 4-minute mainline film in the Ocean series with Ocean's 14, with the two of them back for another heist. Now, it does not have a full director yet, but it seems to be eyeing Edward Berger, who directed the Oscar-winning film of All Quiet on the Western Front. It looks like it could have some big star power and bring appeal back after, I believe, 12 and 13 were sort of underwhelming in reception. But this does also, however, bring in some possible canonicity issues from the 2018 film of Ocean's 8, as there is some fates for characters based on the leads of some of that film, and also discussion of where that rumored Ocean's film with Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie was going to be set in, but I guess all that can either be separate canon or start after the new film if it does happen. But I can see the likes of a new Ocean's film work in this day and age. I'm sure we'll see how it all comes together if it does get confirmed or not, but we'll see. And the last part of the story in particular was the discussion of the usual aspect that come from the industry, as of course with live action remakes, and from the big company that makes it like a yearly tradition, which is of course with Disney. So you know that we have three things. 1. The rewatch-a-thon from my end is coming along real soon. It's taken a year, but we're going to get to it. 2. We know there's a planned release for 4 so far, with Mufasa out this December, Snow White in March, Lilo and Stitch next summer, and Moana in 2026. And 3 is that somewhere down the line there will probably be a few remakes we know of happening, like Hercules, Treasure Planet, and a few other ones. But we also know with no dates yet, and that down the line we'll probably most likely will get an eventual live-action remake of their most popular new film franchise, of Frozen. Now, I'm sure within the next year or two they will probably announce a live action remake of this box office smash hit, after of course probably Frozen 3 and 4 come out, but it seems like there is one actress eyeing to get her chance in the ring of the eventual release. That's with the actress that looks like someone I really care about a whole deep amount for. That's of course with the actress of Anya Taylor-Joy. She's expressed interest in wanting to play the Ice Queen in an inevitable live action Frozen adaptation. In all sense, I can see her play the part well enough that she has the look, she has the singing capabilities, what I learned from last night in Soho, and I do think that she's a great actress overall. A lot of her stuff is really great, and I think she could play the role well enough. I mean, she's already played a princess in Princess Peach with Mario movie, so it could work. Now granted, it is likely to be a bit of a time out before they eventually happens, but in all sense I feel that it's likely Disney will not listen to the likes of agreeing the live action remakes are necessary because they make money. But in all sense, I'm sure they were to choose someone, I can definitely see her play the role well enough. But what are are your opinions on this content presented here, and are you excited for a new Twilight series? Would you be interested in a new Oceans film? And who would you cast on live action Frozen if there was one? Let me know what your thoughts on all this are down below, and let's discuss them there. The third story for this week is a little bit more of a short update, and is an update to a game's future, and it seems a little dim for this project when there was so much potential for it. So, if you recall back about 2 weeks ago, I talked about a new release game that hit PlayStation PC in the form of the 5v5 battle game that garnered mixed appeal, and that project was known as Concord. Well, it looks like it was supposed to be a live service game for a long time, but it seems that's no longer the case, because it was announced earlier this week that the game itself will now be shutting down 2 weeks after launching, and it shut its servers just about a day ago on September 6th. Now, there seemed to be a lot of factors that went against it, with it mainly being the likes of the low player numbers, which is a common thing with most live service games this year, particularly like Suicide Squad and all that stuff. And it's also a case some whole response from one of the developers on social media that is locking responses or fixes behind an $8 fee on Twitter, and some of the known people online that will complain about the new games online in general because it's the sort of norm to hate on everything, or following a hive mind all the time, when I feel like it had like a potential to work out in the long run. Now, my whole approach is that I feel like if it was briefly discussed with someone about a few days ago, was that it could have done the whole like Overwatch aesthetic where like they made it go free to play. It was constant updates and events and other features that would have worked to bring out more people and bring more people into the game, and for like a new multiplayer fare that people probably are tired of the other stuff now. But I don't know how well it would have panned out, because I could sense there was a lot of love and care and dedication to this that went as opposed to like 8 years of development. But I hope for the best for all those who worked on it, and I can get big successful careers for everyone down the line. Maybe a chance that this could get revived in the future in some form, but I guess we'll have to find out down the line. But what are your thoughts on this in particular? Are you disappointed to see this game being shut down so quickly? And if you had played the game in that 2-week window span, what are your thoughts on the game? Was it good? Was it bad? Were you in between? Let me know what your thoughts are down below, and let's discuss them there. So, the final story for this week is bringing a bit of drama and gossip from the world of television and adaptations, as is coming from the realm of high fantasy. A lot of dragons, and a father of said series is making his thoughts well known. Now, if you're aware, one of the biggest series to hit the television and streaming services in the last 2 decades is of course this series of Game of Thrones, based on the books from longtime 7th-book writing author of George R.R. Martin, whose original series is made over the 2010s up from greatness to the first half to a messy conclusion. Everything thought the series was done for when that point came, when it all crashed and burned in season 8. Now, about 3 years after the original series ended came the first of its many spin-offs planned on the way, with the prequel of House of the Dragon, whose first season was very well regarded and a return to form for the franchise, and even a sense from an appealing second season that just wrapped up at the beginning of last month to some similar acclaim. However, not everyone was praising the recent season, and that person that had their issues was the author himself, who had a few things to say about the adaptation of this season's story. Now, according to a blog that he posted earlier this week, the author, who was an executive producer on these shows, apparently had a creative difference with the showrunner in particular for the season, involving the young children of one of the couples in the series, as he was missing one of the kids. Now, in the books, there was a pair of twins and a third child for the couple, and it was the basis at the end of the first episode of the new season that saw what was described as a butterfly effect that will cause issues with the remaining 2 seasons, as the original book telling it was a choice between 3 of the kids who were hired thugs who would kill, and when the mother chose the youngest to be killed and save the older twins, then in the show it is just the son of one of the 2 twins that gets killed, which makes it a little bit more of some simple method becomes a much bigger problem. Where you think it's something simple, it becomes a whole mess. In particular, because it was missing 1 child, and now you're down to 1 when there's supposed to be 2. You get the idea. Now, I'm sure there's probably many more issues from the previous 2 seasons that are not addressed, or even from the main series. I can sense something about this season felt a bit lacking compared to season 1. In all instances, I did really like season 1 more than season 2, as I felt this one was a bit weak and a bit slow. There's not much really that happens in season 2, but you know, people have their own opinions personally, so in a sense. But I feel there is probably some insider issues with like HBO about what they can be said right now, because he did delete it shortly after. But I guess we'll see how this will affect the other spin-offs in the works, as well as the following 2 seasons that will wrap up the story of Fire and Blood over time, as well as many of the other spin-offs, but we'll have to see. But what do you make about this whole ordeal that those who read the novel? Do you think this is a detriment to the later seasons? And what are your opinions on the show in general and its recent season? And do you think there was any other issues overall that you may have spotted yourself that he might be trying to hold back against right now? Let me know what your thoughts on those are down below. And with all that, that's all the news that we have for this week.
I'm done!
Good day, mate!
And now, with all of that, that ends episode 68 of Weird Mind Newsroom. And I do hope that you enjoyed listening to my ramblings. That's probably going to be a bit long this week, but hey, that's what you get from me. Anyways, let's give a quick few updates. Reviews-wise, first thing, I don't have any reviews currently at the moment. The last couple of days has been a bit here, there, and everywhere for me. I've had a long week of a lot of emotional strain and stuff like that, but I will get back to some reviews over time. I'm going to do some films, I'm going to do a few more shows, new games. In most cases, with a few shows that'll have a couple seasons, I might split them into multiple parts, just at least particularly, like at least focus on each season. Or even in case with films, I might have 2 parts. I'm going to do the same as well, but I'll get to when I get to it, or maybe just combine them eventually down the line or something like that, but I'll see with that. Let me know your thoughts of anything that I can at least review down below, and I can do it there. Another one I can at least add to the list of films that I can review is Shyamalan's movie I saw this week. Not bad. It's interesting. I don't think it's his worst one. It's a decent film. There's a lot of interesting moments. There's a bit of messy stuff in there, but you know, it's not bad. Right, so gameplay wise, as you can probably tell from, I uploaded the finale to the Hogwarts Legacy this week. I do have a 3-part epilogue that I will probably upload down the line. I'm going to take a break from Hogwarts Legacy for a bit. There's 3 parts. I'm going to leave it for a little bit. That's going to have my little review at the end of the last part. But next, in case, I'm going to be uploading, of course, as you can see up in the corner there, The Last of Us series. I'm going to start recording that probably maybe tonight or maybe tomorrow. It depends on how well I upload this thing. As well as start on the Mario Wonder gameplay, as well as starting up Cyberpunk 2077 in particular. And I'm going to look through a list for stuff that build up ones for like the Wii, Wii U, DS, PSP and stuff when I get them working, as well as like older consoles like PS3 and 360 and stuff like that and everything else. So I'll probably put those links down in the description when I have them ready to go, and you can vote from there, or I'll probably upload at some points down the line once I play more of these games in particular. So hopefully look for the first part of one of these series. Maybe next week, I'll have to see. Under long form stuff, I've already talked about the rewatch-a-thon is coming along. The AI video piece I'm making for the audience shows with the special someone one that I promised them to. That's going to come along as well. I'm going to get working on that again. I took a little bit of a break on it recently. I had this stuff ready to go just in case of just like hitting a wall of just mental strain kind of thing. It's not been great. And some other stuff like good long form stuff, other concepts, ideas that are coming along as well. But I will get to that when I get to it in particular. So just keep an update and stuff. But I'm going to leave the episode there. So if you enjoyed my content and want to see more from me and probably more on this odd outfit choices I wear in particular, then you can simply like and subscribe, as I hope to reach my goal of 100 subs by the end of this year, and I upload new videos every single week in a very mixed style. It could be reviews, it could be this, it could be gameplays, it could be anything, you never know. I could just turn the camera and start crying for 5 minutes, who knows, that could be entertainment. But yeah, comment below on all your thoughts and everything that was discussed this week in particular, like what are your thoughts on the new releases, you see any of them? Or play any of them? What are your thoughts on the trailers? What are your opinions on the news? I'd love to hear all about it. Let's have a discussion. I love to hear everything. I love to have an open conversation with everything. And yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it now, and share around if you like as well, and maybe other people might like it as well. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. And as always, you all stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day, doing many great things. And to keep being you, because no one else can do what you do, and of course to take care of yourself, because it's very important to take care of yourself, especially this month. Reach out to a friend, reach out to people, reach out and make sure they're all okay, because sometimes they may be struggling. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for now. So as always, I'd like to see you all in the next one, and I hope you all stay being wonderful people. So take care. Goodbye.